Some stories that have come down to us in the form of myth and legend are so good you just want them to be true. Well, the story of Lady Katherine Ferrers is undoubtedly one of these fantastic tales. The story goes that Katherine Ferrers was born on the 4th of May 1634, the daughter of Knighton Ferrers and his wife Katherine. Katherine was born into a wealthy family who had through time received much land from the English monarchs, with large houses in Flamstead and Markyet, both in Hertfordshire. In the first few years of her life, tragedy often called on the Ferrers family. Katherine's father died soon after she was born, as did her elder brother and grandfather. In 1640, she was appointed the sole heir to her grandfather's estates. Her mother married Sir Simon Fanshawe, perhaps owing to the family being favoured by royalty in the past, and Sir Simon Fanshawe being a committed royalist when civil war broke out between King Charles and his parliament in 1642. The family moved to Oxford, where the king had established his wartime capital. Katherine's mother died soon after they moved. Her stepfather fought at the Battle of Marston Moor for the king, and 2 years later was captured and imprisoned. Katherine was sent to reside with Simon's brother and his wife. To protect their interests, the Fanshaws arranged for the 14-year-old Katherine to marry her stepfather's nephew, Thomas Fanshawe. He was 2 years older than his bride. This is when the stuff of legend kicks in. The Fanshaws, being on the losing side in the war, had land seized by the victors. They lived in the manor house of Markyet Cell. With the country being in a state of unrest, many ex-royalist soldiers, having lost everything, were resorting to highway robbery to get money to live. Travelling the highways and byways of England was becoming very dangerous. Katherine, either as a way of getting back some of her lost fortune or just for some excitement, was said to have met and teamed up with a highwayman called Ralph Chaplin. She rode with him until his execution, after a robbery went wrong and he was captured on Finchley Common. Unperturbed by the death of her partner in crime, she carried on alone, holding up coaches and carts on the highway, with her face hidden by a mask, a pistol in each hand, sitting atop of a jet-black horse, or a white horse, depends on the story you read. Katherine was playing the young wealthy lady by day, before disappearing into a hidden room at Markyet Cell and putting on her work clothes and terrifying travellers at night.
Explore Provan Hall after dark.
Is it really haunted?
Join us to find out.
If you dare.
There are a few accounts of the end for Katherine Ferrers. I like this one because it gives a date. So this is the story that I'm going to tell you. In 1652, a wagon was making its way north from St Albans. It was carrying supplies for some inns on the road. In the dark, the driver spotted two figures walking by the roadside. He stopped and offered these two men a lift. Gratefully, the men climbed on the back of the wagon. As the carriage rumbled up the road, it passed a clump of trees, gently swaying and rustling in the wind. Suddenly, a figure on horseback emerged from the cover. This horseman was wearing a tricorn hat, a long cloak, and a mask hiding the face. Before the stand and deliver, your money or your life, of lore or adamant fame could be uttered, one of the passengers, hidden in the back of the wagon, unobserved by the robber, fired a shot. The musket ball hit the highwayman on the chest. The bandit fell over the neck of the horse as the animal turned in fright and galloped off. The frightened beast ran at a frantic pace for home, towards the manor house of Markyet Cell. Barely conscious and bleeding heavily from the wound, Katherine Ferrers clung on desperately to the sweating, snorting animal. The horse came to halt at Katherine's home and she dismounted. She used what little strength she had to crawl to the front door, and it was there that her servants found her dead the next morning. Her husband, who had no idea of his wife's nocturnal activities, had her hastily buried in St Mary's Church in the village of Ware. The ghost of Katherine Ferrers is said to haunt Marget's cell. She's been seen in the kitchen and on a staircase. Katherine Ferrers is also meant to haunt a tree in the grounds of the house. The phantom of a highwaywoman is also said to haunt the roads in the area. One story is that the body of Lady Ferrers was found lying dead beside a secret door leading to a staircase that took you down into a chamber. There, the lady got dressed into her highwayman outfit, and when she returned after committing her crime, she got back into her night dress. And this door remained blocked up and forgotten about for 150 years, until a fire in 1840 when it was rediscovered. But no local labourer would go down and open this door. They were terrified of the ghost. So instead, workmen from London were brought. They had no knowledge of the tale. The same year, 1840, a local labourer claims that he saw the ghost of Lady Ferrers swinging on the branch of a sycamore tree near the house. There's also stories of the sound of chains rattling along the Dunstable Road. On moonlight nights, Lady Ferrers' ghost can be seen astride her horse, careering over the tops of the trees near the cell. Local people say that as Lady Ferrers rides over the trees on her horse, she sings this song: "Milk and water I sell ever, weight and measure I make never." One night in 1898, Elizabeth Maylies was asked to deliver a telegram to the house at Marget's cell. Elizabeth was 14 years old, so she asked her friend, Miss Hetty, to accompany her. The two of them walked up to the house in the dark, delivered this telegram, and they were making their way home. Suddenly, Elizabeth called out, "Look, Hetty, there's a ghost gliding along the grass behind us." Hetty turned round and could see nothing at all, but Elizabeth became more and more worked up and frightened. She started to run. She glanced behind her and again said that this ghost was following them. As she ran, she glanced a few times, and each time she stated that they were being chased by this ghost. They got to the bottom of the drive, and then she stated that the ghost was going up the old sycamore tree. Now, this report given by Miss Hetty many years later, when Elizabeth was dead, Miss Hetty stated that Elizabeth was quite a level-headed young woman, and she was not prone to making up stories or trying to frighten her friend in any way. So Miss Hetty seemed to really believe that Elizabeth had seen something strange that night. This ghost was seen again in 1956. A night watchman who was working beside the bypass which divides the cell and Marget Church from the rest of the village saw the ghost of Lady Ferrers. She glided towards him. The man shouted out twice, asking what she wanted, but got no reply. This workman was so scared that the very next day he quit his job and never set foot on the site again. This is a story that keeps on giving. Not only have we the tale of a society woman, a rich lady, who by night turns into a highwaywoman, robbing people, and perhaps even it's been stated that she murdered people on the road.
Explore Castle Menzies after dark.
Is it really haunted?
Is it really haunted?
Book now to find out.
If you dare.
We've also got a ghost story. Her spirit has been seen around the house on a few occasions. And to add to that, we've got the story of hidden treasure. It's said that Katherine Ferrers hid all the money she stole, and her ghostly form sings a second song, and this song goes like this: "Near the cell is a well, near the well is a tree, and 'neath the tree the treasure be." So, perhaps one day, the hidden treasure of Lady Katherine Ferrers will be discovered. So is this story backed up by any historical fact? Well, it seems there's conflicting evidence. I am lucky that I've got a copy of Alan Fay's Secret Chambers and Hiding Places, published in 1901, and The book contains an article taken from Cousin's History of Hertfordshire, and it gives an account of this secret chamber at Markgate Cell. It also talks of an iron door that was discovered up the kitchen chimney in the old house. But going back to this chamber, it said after going up a short flight of steps, it led you to a door that was of stout oak, which opened by a secret spring, and it led to an unknown chamber on the ground level. It states that local tradition says it was a favourite haunt of a certain wicked Lady Ferrers, who disguised herself in mere attire and robbed travellers upon the highway, and being wounded in one of these exploits, fled to the house and was found lying dead outside the walls. It also says that malignant nature of the Lady Spectre is said to have held such a firm hold upon the villagers that no local labour could be induced to work upon that particular part of the house. So that kind of backs up what I've already said about the labourers have to be found from London who had no knowledge of the story. Unfortunately, there's no documents or records or any accounts of a female highway robber terrorising the roads in Hertfordshire in the mid-1600s. There are documents that state that Catherine and her husband sold Markgate Cell years before her reputed death there. And the Fanshawe family records have Katherine Ferrers dying aged 26 in London, perhaps during childbirth. There's no grave to Catherine at St Mary's Church. Where? Does that mean that this story is untrue? Well, there is an account of a Lady Ferrers being hanged at Tyburn in London in 1760, aged 25. But at this date is too late to be the same Katherine Ferrers we're talking about now. But the Fanshaws were a very powerful and influential family. They would have saw Catherine as bringing a shame on the family name. It wouldn't be difficult for them to use their power and influence to pull some strings, get some favours, to have this dark period of the Fanshawe family changed. Documents moved. History rewritten. Who knows? In a remarkable twist of fate, another girl called Katherine Ferrers was found guilty of highway robbery. Katherine, who was 18, was charged along with Catherine Davis at the Old Bailey in London in June 1825 with being part of a gang of 3 girls who robbed a man of £40. Mr Marsh was a timber merchant who lived in Popular. He was attacked by 3 girls outside the City of Norwich public house on Wentworth Street, Whitechapel, London. The girls pushed him around, and when he fell over, they went through his pockets. It was then Mr Marsh told the court that Katherine Ferrers joined in, and after shouting and swearing at him, she took money from his person. Katherine Ferrers was found guilty and sentenced to hang. But there was some doubt as to whether she had been involved in this robbery or not. She denied being there, and the policeman who arrested her did not think her guilty. Mr Marsh was shortly after confined in St Luke's Asylum, shortly after the trial. Some witnesses came forward and told the police that Catherine's arrest was a case of mistaken identity. 2 other girls, Mary Ann Shute and Sarah Ferrers, were named as having taken part in the crime. These women were arrested, and in a statement both confirmed that Katherine Ferrers was not involved. Catherine had her sentence commuted to transportation for life, and on the 16th of March 1826 was given a free pardon. If you've enjoyed the story, please like and subscribe. You might like to take one of our dark history tours, ghost tours, or paranormal investigations that are held in Perthshire, Glasgow and Stirling. If so, please visit our website, which is www.historyandhorrortours.com. Thank you.